There are seasons in your life when everything feels heavy, bills stack up, opportunities dry out. People say, just have faith. But your chest feels tight every time you look at your bank account. You work, you try, you push, and still it feels like you are walking against an invisible wind. Then there are other seasons where doors open with almost no effort. The right person calls, the job appears, the money you needed shows up at the last moment. You meet someone who says, I don't know why, but I felt I should help you. You call it luck. You call it a good phase. You call it things finally working out. Heaven calls it alignment. From your side, it feels like chaos. Random good days, random bad days. From heaven's side, it looks like a heart-changing frequencies. You were never created to live on the frequency of fear, panic, and permanent scarcity. But you've been there. You know how it sounds inside you. You wake up scanning for what might go wrong. You rehearse disaster in your mind before the day even begins. You tie your worth to numbers and outcomes. You say with your mouth, God is my provider. But deep inside you whisper, it's all on me and I'm not enough. That inner frequency is not just emotion. It's a signal. It affects what you notice, how you walk into rooms, what you expect, what you're willing to receive. And heaven, in mercy, refuses to bless the lie that you are alone. So sometimes it lets certain doors stay closed until the frequency of your heart changes, not because God enjoys watching you struggle, but because He loves you too much to let your anxiety become your God. There is another way to live, not in denial of problems, not with fake positivity, but in a real, quiet, deep alignment with the rhythm of heaven. You have tasted it before. That strange peace in a month that made no sense on paper. That unexplainable calm when you didn't know how the situation would resolve, but something in you knew you would be kept. That moment when you chose to thank God in the middle of lack, and somehow the atmosphere in the room changed even before the numbers did. It's like the static cleared for a moment and you tuned into a different station. That station is not the law of attraction from the universe. It is the frequency of trust. The frequency of a heart that stops agreeing with scarcity as its identity and starts agreeing with God's voice. When your inner world is tuned to fear, you move like an orphan trying to grab and hold whatever you can. When your inner world is tuned to heaven, you move like a child who knows they are not holding their life alone. Heaven's frequency sounds like this. You are not abandoned. I know what you need before you ask. I am not limited by what you see. Provision is not just money. It is favor, open doors, ideas, peace, strength, connections designed by my hand. And right beside you, in the unseen, there is an angel on assignment in this very area. An angel who has walked with you through unpaid bills, through interviews that failed, through nights you stared at the ceiling whispering, God, how are we going to make it? They have watched how your heart shifts when you are drowning in fear, and how it shifts when you finally lift your eyes and say, I don't know how, but I choose to trust you again. When you do that, genuinely, even shakily, something changes in the spiritual atmosphere. You are not manifesting money. You are agreeing with the truth that heaven has already been taking care of you. And agreement changes frequency. It's like turning the dial from a channel of constant static to a channel where you can finally hear the music that was playing the whole time. You say, God, I feel poor, but you say I am not abandoned. I feel forgotten, but you say you see me. I feel like nothing ever works out, but you say you have plans to give me hope and a future. So I choose to believe your voice over my fear. In that moment, you may not see money fall from the sky. You may not watch a miracle explode in front of you, but heaven hears the shift. Your angel hears the shift. The spiritual frequency around your life moves from closed, tight, self-protective panic to open hands that can actually receive what God has been wanting to send. Some of the favor you've seen in your life was not you being lucky or charismatic. It was heaven responding to a heart that, even for a moment, aligned itself with the truth. And now you are being invited into that alignment on purpose, not just in crisis, but as a way of living, to move from a life run by fear of lack to a life tuned to the frequency of divine provision. You didn't wake up one day and decide to live in fear of money. You were trained into it. You watched adults whisper about bills in the kitchen when they thought you weren't listening. You heard stress in the way they answered the phone. You felt tension every time the word money entered the room. Sometimes it was lack. Sometimes it was unpredictable abundance. Good months followed by bad ones. Promises made and then broken. Celebrations that ended in arguments about what it cost. You learned early that money could change the mood of an entire house. So you built beliefs without even knowing it. If I had more, people would be less angry. If we lose this, everything will fall apart. If I ask for what I need, I'll be a burden. Nobody sat you down and taught you scarcity. You absorbed it. And as you grew, you started carrying that frequency inside your own chest. You felt guilty spending on yourself, even on basic things. You overworked because rest felt dangerous. You said yes to opportunities that drained you because what if nothing else comes? You called it being responsible. Heaven called it living like an orphan in the house of a father, because you were never meant to live, as if provision depended solely on your ability to hustle harder than everyone else. Working is good, excellence is holy, God honors diligence. But fear is not diligence. Fear is a frequency that tells you there will never be enough, that you are always one step away from disaster, that every good thing can vanish in a moment and God will not catch you. That belief doesn't just sit quietly in the background, it leaks. It leaks into the way you talk about money, into the way you react when something breaks, into the way you look at other people's success, into the way you hold on too tight to what you have or sabotage what you receive because you don't trust it to stay. Your guardian angel has seen you live on that frequency. They have watched you open your banking app with a knot in your stomach. They have watched you say no to blessings because you were sure you would mess them up. They have watched you reject help because you didn't want to owe anyone. From the outside, it looks like caution. From heaven's side, it looks like a heart that has never felt fully safe. Yet even in that frequency of scarcity, God has been moving. You can see it if you look closely. There were months you truly didn't know how you were going to make it, and you still did. Something sold. Someone paid you back when you had forgotten. A bill was lower than expected. An opportunity for extra income appeared exactly when you needed it. You told yourself, I got lucky. I scraped by. I did what I had to do. But if you listen beneath that story, you will hear another one. I was carried. Your angel has gone before you into meetings, interviews, and conversations you thought were about you convincing people, when in reality, heaven was already preparing favor on the other side of those doors. They have watched people say sentences like, I don't know why, but I feel like we should help you, and they have known exactly why. Not because your vibration manipulated the universe, but because your Father moved hearts for his child. Still, God loves you too much to let you build your life on a constant emergency rescue. He wants to teach you a different way to exist, not bouncing between panic and miracle, but walking on the steady frequency of trust. Trust doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you refuse to agree that fear is telling you the whole truth. Trust sounds like this. I see the numbers and I feel nervous. But God, you have not abandoned me before, and you will not start now. I don't know how you will provide, but I choose not to worship worry. I choose to keep my heart open to you. When you talk like that, not as a performance, but as a real, shaky, honest prayer, something in the unseen starts to realign. You are not sending commands to angels like employees. You are coming into agreement with the atmosphere they already live in, an atmosphere where God is not nervous, where resources are not scarce, where provision is not a last-minute scramble, but a river. Your angel moves easily in that river. They are used to obeying a God who feeds thousands with almost nothing, who puts coins in the mouths of fish, who clothes flowers in beauty without worrying about inflation. When your heart is tuned only to scarcity, you struggle to recognize the ways that kind of God is already moving for you. You dismiss ideas as too small, timing as coincidence, open doors as I don't deserve this, connections as probably won't last. You walk past answers to your own prayers because fear tells you they're traps. But when your heart begins to tune to heaven's frequency, even slowly, suddenly you start seeing what was there all along. The phone call you used to dread becomes a place where favor shows up. The small opportunity you would have ignored becomes a stepping stone. The idea you constantly pushed away as not realistic begins to feel like a seed God actually wants you to plant. Prosperity on heaven's frequency is not just more money, it is wholeness. It is enough in the right places, enough wisdom to handle increase without it owning you, enough peace to make decisions that aren't driven by panic, enough generosity to let what God gives you flow outward instead of dying in your clenched fist. Your angel has seen how different you move when you taste that frequency. You breathe deeper. You plan with hope, not just suspicion. You become open to God's interruptions, even when they don't look like your original plan. Heaven is not asking you to pretend you never worry. It is inviting you to notice the worry, and instead of bowing to it, to lift your eyes and say, "Fear, you don't get the last word about my future. My Father does." That sentence changes more than your mood. It changes what you are tuned to. And the more often you turn the dial away from scarcity and toward trust, the easier it becomes for your life to catch the signals of provision that have been playing over you all along. There were opportunities you were sure would change everything. The job that promised a bigger paycheck, the partnership that looked like fast success, the move that seemed like the shortcut out of pressure, the offer that made your eyes light up because it looked like the answer to every financial prayer. You imagined yourself on the other side of that yes, finally breathing, finally stable, finally able to say, "I made it." You prayed, "God, please open this door. If this is from you, let it happen." Then the door stayed shut. The email never came. The person chose someone else. The deal collapsed. The transfer was denied. The plan fell apart in your hands. You stared at the closed door and felt something bitter rise. Why would you let me hope if you were just going to say no? Why do other people get ahead while I stay stuck? Why does provision always have to be complicated? From your side, it looked like rejection. From heaven's side, it looked like protection. Not every increase is prosperity. Not every more is blessing. There are doors that lead to bigger numbers and smaller souls. Doors that might feed your ego and starve your peace. Doors that would give you money and steal your marriage. Doors that would put you on a platform and quietly drain your integrity. Heaven is not just committed to your survival. Heaven is committed to your wholeness. Your guardian angel does not only fight off accidents and sudden crises, they also stand in hallways of opportunity and hold doors shut when God says, this increase would cost them too much. Not their effort. I can strengthen them for effort. It would cost their heart, their focus, their time with me, their ability to hear my voice. I will not trade their soul for a number. You don't see the hidden contracts attached to some of the offers you've cried over losing, the internal compromises you would have been asked to make, the environments where your conscience would slowly be dulled because that's just how we do things here. The people who would have had access to your vulnerability for the wrong reasons. You only saw the paycheck, the title, the relief. Heaven saw the long-term effect on your heart. So when that door closed, your angel did not cheer at your disappointment. They stayed close while you paced the room, while you scrolled through social media seeing other people's wins, while you questioned if you were cursed. They watched you ask, did I not pray enough? Did I attract the wrong thing? Did I mess up my own manifestation? They wanted you to know that you are not living in a universe that coldly mirrors back whatever energy you release. You are living under the care of a Father who sometimes overrides your requests because he sees what you cannot. The law of attraction without God puts all the weight on you. If you don't get what you wanted, it must be your fault. Your vibration was off. Your thoughts were wrong. Your belief wasn't strong enough. Heaven's way is different. It says your thoughts matter, your words matter, your expectations matter. But you are not the center of the universe. I am. And I love you too much to give you everything you want, exactly when you want it. There are times your heart was tuned to desperation, and you almost attracted something that matched it. A job built on exploitation, a relationship built on control, a quick money scheme built on lies. In those moments, God's mercy was not in saying yes, it was in saying no. Your angel has stood in those thresholds like a soldier at a gate. They have watched what approached you. They have felt the weight of certain offers. They have obeyed when heaven commanded, interfere, delay this, disturb this plan, let this fall apart. So the call didn't connect. The person changed their mind. The contract got lost. The paperwork failed. The timing misaligned. You called it bad luck. Heaven called it a rescue. You will never know how many miracles of no you've experienced. You only know the sting of disappointment. But what if some of your biggest losses were actually victories in the spiritual realm? Victories you didn't feel at the time. Closed doors that kept your heart available for a different kind of prosperity. The kind that doesn't collapse when the market shifts. The kind that doesn't require you to become someone else. The kind that can grow slowly, safely, in alignment with who God made you to be. This doesn't mean every closed door was from Him. Sometimes people fail you. Sometimes systems are unjust. Sometimes opportunities vanish because of other people's choices. Heaven sees all of that too. But even in those unfair losses, your angel has watched God weave new paths. The interview you didn't get led to a job where you met someone who pushed you closer to your true calling. The client who said no freed your time for a project that actually fit your purpose. The move you couldn't make kept you close to a community you desperately needed in a later storm. You thought you were just stuck. Heaven knew you were being rerouted. Prosperity in heaven's language is not just more, it is right. Right place, right time, right connections, right assignments. And for that to happen, God will sometimes deny you access to the wrong places, the wrong timing, the wrong connections, even when everything in you is screaming, this would fix everything. Your angel has seen you stand at those closed doors and feel rejected, but they have also seen what stood on the other side. And one day you will see it too. You will look back at the things you were sure you had to have, and you will thank God for every no that protected you from a version of prosperity that would have prospered everything around you. Except your soul. Scarcity teaches you to grab. Grab opportunities before someone else does. Grab money and hold it tight. Grab attention, favor, recognition, because if you don't, you might never see it again. You don't call it grabbing, you call it survival. You've seen what happens when people don't fight for their place. You've watched others get passed over, left behind, forgotten. So you learn to clench your fists, hold your plans close, hold your resources closer. Trust no one fully, trust God with your words maybe, but not with your actual security. Your guardian angel has watched you live that way. They have seen you say, God will provide out loud, and spend the rest of the day acting as if everything depends solely on your own strength. They have watched your shoulders tighten when you think about giving. They have seen the mental math you do in secret, trying to decide if generosity is too risky. From the outside, it looks wise. From heaven's side, it looks like a heart locked in a small room with all the windows shut, trying to breathe its own air forever. Because here is something you have felt but maybe never admitted. When you live always grabbing, you never feel rich. Even when more comes, it never feels like enough. You are always chasing just a little more so you can finally relax. But the finish line keeps moving. Heaven lives on a different frequency. There, prosperity is connected to flow, not chaos, not carelessness. Flow. What comes in is not meant to stagnate. It is meant to move through you. Not so you can end up empty, but so you can live plugged into a source that never runs dry. God does not bless you so that fear can build a fortress. He blesses you so that His goodness can have more ways to reach the world. Sometimes that goodness looks like money. Sometimes it looks like time. Sometimes it looks like skills, connections, ideas, encouragement. But the principle is the same. What you hold with a death grip shuts down the flow. What you hold with open hands can be multiplied. Your angel has watched your hands. They have seen you give when it hurt, sow when it made no sense, bless someone else when you were the one trying not to drown. They saw it the day you gave your last bit of cash to someone who needed it more, quietly, with no one posting about it. They saw it when you paid a bill for someone else, even though your own numbers didn't look good. They saw it when you gave time, attention, free work, a listening ear behind the scenes. You thought those moments disappeared. Heaven recorded them. Those actions shifted your frequency, even for a moment. Fear says, if I give, I lose. Heaven says, when you give at my leading, you make room for a different kind of gain. Not a mechanical transaction. Not I gave 10, so now God owes me 100. That is not a father. That is a vending machine. He is not your vending machine. He is your source. And He has set a real spiritual law into the fabric of the world. What you release in obedience never returns empty. Sometimes it returns as money, sometimes as a door, sometimes as protection you will never see with your eyes. Your angel has escorted provision back to you that you never connected to the seeds you sowed. The job that opened after you helped someone when you were tired. The favor you received years after you blessed someone with no agenda. The random kindness you experienced at a moment you desperately needed it. Heaven knew you were simply reaping from places you had once chosen to flow instead of hoard. You don't give to manipulate God. You give to align with Him, to agree with the frequency heaven lives in. We are not poor. We are not abandoned. We are not terrified of running out. We are anchored to a source who does not fail. When you move on that frequency, your relationship with money begins to change. It doesn't mean you stop being wise. You still budget, you still plan, you still say no to foolish spending. But the fear starts to loosen. You no longer see every ask as a threat. You no longer see every opportunity to bless as an attack on your safety. You begin to ask, God, what are you doing through me in this area? Where do you want me to be a channel, not just a container? Your angel loves those questions, because they know how heaven responds when a heart asks them sincerely. They have watched God entrust more to those who are willing to let more flow, not because those people are perfect, but because their hands are not welded shut. Every time you choose to live like that, you are stepping out of the old agreement with scarcity, the agreement that says, I am always one step away from losing everything, and you are stepping into a different agreement. I am always one heartbeat away from the God who owns everything. If He asks me to give, He will not abandon me. If He leads me to bless, He is not setting me up to lack. If He closes one door, He will not leave me in a hallway forever. This is the frequency of divine provision. Hands that work, a heart that trusts, a life that flows. You may not see instant wealth. You may not wake up tomorrow with every pressure gone, but you will notice something else. The grip of fear on your chest begins to weaken. The panic in your thoughts begins to quiet. The way you talk about money, work, and your future begins to soften. And in that quieter space, it becomes much easier for heaven's guidance to reach you. Ideas, connections, timing, assignments. Your angel is already moving in those spaces, positioning the right people, disturbing the wrong agreements, opening roads you haven't even seen yet. Not so you can boast about how well you attracted things, but so you can live day by day as someone who knows they are not scraping a living out of a hostile universe, but walking step by step with a father who takes responsibility for his children and teaches them how to prosper without losing their souls. Before anything changes around you, something begins to change inside you. You know this, even if you've never said it out loud. There were days you woke up already defeated, Before you checked your phone, before you looked at your account, before you stepped out the door, your inner voice had already declared the outcome. This is going to be another hard day. Nothing ever works out for me. I'm always the one who struggles. I'll never get out of this. You didn't call it a declaration, you called it being realistic. But heaven hears reality very differently. From your side, those thoughts feel private, harmless, maybe even honest. From heaven's side, they sound like agreements with scarcity, agreements with rejection, agreements with the idea that you are permanently stuck. Your guardian angel has listened to the frequency of your words, not to judge you, but to respond to what you are aligning with. They have also heard another kind of sentence come out of your mouth, maybe quietly, maybe once in a while. I don't know how, but God has never let me starve. It looks impossible, but I know He has a way. I feel scared, but I believe He will provide. I'm tired, but I know I'm not alone in this. Every time you speak like that, your angel hears a different frequency, not denial, not fake positivity. Agreement. Agreement with the rhythm heaven already lives in. You are not a machine. You can't flip a switch and banish every negative thought. But you do have a choice about what you feed. Fearful thoughts will come. They have pathways carved by years of habit. The question is not, do they show up? The question is, what do you do when they do? When the thought shows up, I'll never get ahead, you can let it nest in your mind, build a home, decorate the walls, or you can notice it, feel its weight, and then answer it. Maybe that's how it feels, but that is not what God says. He says He has plans to give me hope. He says He is my shepherd, I shall not want. He says He cares even for the birds and the flowers. I am not invisible to Him. Those answers do not magically erase debt. They do not instantly fix the economy. They do not force people to suddenly be fair, but they do something just as real. They retune your heart. They move you from a frequency that repels the guidance of heaven to a frequency that can actually hear it. When you live in nothing ever works, you won't see the instructions God gives you that would actually help. You will walk past ideas that flash in your mind and dismiss them as foolish. You will ignore nudges to call someone, apply somewhere, try something new, because fear has already decided it won't work. Your angel has watched those moments. They have seen ideas drop into your mind like tiny seeds, a side project, a skill to develop, a person to reach out to, a small step toward order in your finances. And they have watched fear talk you out of them. This is nothing. It wouldn't make a difference. I'll probably fail. It's too late. But when your inner narrative begins to change, those same seeds land differently. You start to say, this might be small, but maybe it's from God. Maybe this is a step towards something I can't see yet. Now heaven has something to work with, not because your words are magic spells, but because your agreement opens doors inside you. Doors to courage, doors to wisdom, doors to obedience. And where there is obedience, there is always room for provision. Your guardian angel does not respond to entitled demands. They do respond to surrendered trust. When you say, God, I will do what you show me to do, even if it looks small, even if it feels insignificant, and I will trust you with the parts I cannot control, you are stepping into a partnership. Heaven moves in the unseen. You move in the seen. Heaven arranges timing, aligns hearts, opens doors you could never force open. You make the call. You send the application. You launch the idea. You steward the opportunity. Your thoughts and words are like the dial on the radio. You can live tuned to, I'm cursed. Nothing changes. I always lose. And your life will feel like a constant confirmation of that belief. Or you can live tuned to, I am not abandoned, I am learning, I am being led. I will see the goodness of God in the land of the living. And slowly, your eyes will start to notice evidence of that too. The truth is not shaped by your thoughts, but your experience of the truth is. Heaven's frequency over your life has always sounded like this. You are loved, you are seen, you are provided for in ways you cannot yet measure. You are being led into assignments that fit who I made you to be. When you start to echo that, even in simple sentences, you are not manifesting the universe. You are agreeing with your Father. And in that agreement, your angel finds clear instructions. Help them see the next step. Guard them as they move. Bring the right connections at the right time. Protect their heart from the lie that they are alone in this. Your circumstances may not change overnight, but the atmosphere inside you will. And when that changes, everything else has room to change differently too. There are moments in your story you still call bad timing. You applied too late. You found out too early. You moved too soon. You stayed too long. You replay those scenes and think, if I had just sent that email sooner, if I had just said yes earlier, if I hadn't chickened out, my life would be different. You treat timing like a cruel joke that you are always one step behind. But from heaven's side, timing looks very different. Your guardian angel doesn't just stand beside you in crises. They move in your calendar. They walk ahead of you into months you haven't seen yet. They stand in rooms before you ever enter, feeling the atmosphere, weighing the alignment. They don't make the decisions for you. They don't override your will, but they do participate in the orchestration of when. You have felt it without recognizing it. The day something in you hesitated for no logical reason. The strange lack of peace about a deal that looked perfect. The check in your spirit when everyone else said, go for it. You argued with that feeling. You said, I'm just scared. This is self-sabotage. I'm going to push through. Sometimes you did. Sometimes you ignored the unease and walked straight ahead. Other times you listened, you waited, you pulled back. You said, I don't know why, but this doesn't feel right. Later, you found out something you didn't know at the time. The company was unstable. The person was not who they seemed. The amazing opportunity was built on something crooked. From your side, it looked like you almost missed a chance. From heaven's side, it looked like you almost walked into a trap. Your angel stood in front of those doors with a seriousness you have never seen on earth. Not every delay is warfare. Sometimes it is mercy. You think of the times you were forced to wait as punishment. Why is everything so slow for me? Why don't I get the same acceleration everyone else seems to have? But what if some of the slowness has been God protecting you from arriving in rooms your character wasn't ready to carry? He loves you too much to promote you into collapse. He loves you too much to speed up a season of success that would expose wounds in you still bleeding. Your angel has seen what pressure does to humans. They have watched people receive more than their foundations can hold, more attention, more money, more power, and watched them crack. They have stood by as those same people begged for a return to simplicity. You envy the sudden stories, the overnight breakthroughs, the we went viral testimonies. Heaven looks at your story and sees the slow build, the patient layering of strength, wisdom, discernment. That is not neglect. That is care. You prayed, God opened doors, and He heard. He assigned angels to pathways you cannot yet see, to relationships you haven't met, to resources that are currently in someone else's hands. But He also heard another prayer you didn't realize you were praying. God, don't let success destroy me. Don't let increase outgrow my soul. Don't let what I gain on the outside bury who I am on the inside. You prayed it when you felt sick watching someone else lose themselves in their own prosperity. You prayed it when you whispered, I never want to become like that. Heaven takes that prayer seriously, so sometimes provision comes as delay. It looks like frustration. It feels like being overlooked. But inside that delay, something sacred is happening. Your roots are going deeper. You are learning to separate your worth from your net worth. You are learning the sound of God's peace versus the sound of mere hype. You are learning that you would rather have one door opened by God than 10 doors you broke down with your own fear. Your guardian angel has seen the difference in the atmosphere when you wait for His timing. In the wrong timing, spaces feel heavy on your chest, even if they sparkle on the outside. In heaven's timing, there is weight, but it is a steady weight of responsibility, not the suffocating weight of misalignment. You can feel the difference in your body. One makes you smaller. One expands you. Prosperity on heaven's frequency will stretch you, but not shatter you. It will challenge you, but not strip you of who you are. And if that means some doors have to stay closed a little longer, heaven is willing. Your angel would rather stand guard in a hallway with you for a season than watch you run headfirst into a room that looks golden and is actually a cage. All of this is not to make you passive. It is to teach you how to discern, to notice when your soul is trying to run ahead of God, pulling on every handle in sight, and when His Spirit is gently saying, "Wait, let me align this, let me go before you, let me bring you into this when it will bless you, not break you." Your prosperity is not just about getting there, it is about arriving with your heart intact. So when you look back on the doors that stayed shut, the applications that vanished, the yes that turned into no, you can grieve the disappointment. You can be honest about how it hurt, but you can also ask a new question. God, were you protecting me there? Was there something I could not see? Show me how that delay might have been a kind of love. You may not see all the details, but heaven knows. And your angel who has walked the long road of your timing with you knows this much. You have never been behind schedule in the hands of the God who writes your story. Prosperity is not just about what comes to you. It is also about what flows through you. You have gifts you don't fully respect, things that feel natural to you, so natural that you assume they don't matter much. The way you listen, the way you organize chaos, the way you solve problems, the way you create beauty, the way you speak, write, fix, build, serve. You call them just skills. Heaven calls them assignments. Your guardian angel has watched you since childhood, seeing how certain things came easier to you than others. They have seen you light up when you are in your element, then shrink back because fear whispers, "This will never pay the bills. This is just a hobby. This is unrealistic." So you clock in to places that drain you, give the best of yourself to things that don't match your design, and leave your true gifts in the shadows. From your side, it looks like being practical. From heaven's side, it looks like burying treasure. Prosperity on divine frequency does not mean everyone becomes rich and famous. It means the work of your hands comes into alignment with what heaven put inside you. When that happens, something changes. Peace moves into your effort. Creativity opens. Endurance deepens. You stop working only for survival and start working as a partner in something larger than a paycheck. You have felt it in flashes. The project that made you tired but fulfilled. The day you served someone and felt more alive after than before. The moment you used your gift to bless another person and sensed a deep yes in your spirit. That yes is not imaginary. It is heaven confirming your lane. Your angel has watched heaven orchestrate chances for you to practice that lane. A side task someone randomly offered you, an invitation to help with something you secretly enjoy, a small request that put you in a position to use what you carry for someone else's good. You didn't always see those moments as holy. You saw them as favors, extra work, minor opportunities. But heaven does not despise small beginnings. It knows that rivers start as streams. Some of the streams in your life are connected to your provision. Not just spiritual provision, but practical. There are ideas you have pushed away because they felt too small. A service you could offer, a product you could create, a way to teach what you know, a way to bring order where others feel lost. You told yourself, everyone can do this, no one will pay for this, I'm not ready. Who am I to step out? Your angel heard all of that, but they also heard the way heaven spoke about you. This is not random. I put this in them. Their provision is tied to their design. I am not asking them to copy someone else's path. I am asking them to walk in the one I wrote for them. Prosperity without assignment feels empty. You can see it in the faces of those who have everything the world calls success and still feel hollow. Assignment without provision feels frustrating. You can see it in the hearts of those who burn for purpose but feel blocked at every turn. Heaven's desire for you is not either or, it is both. A life where your hands are busy with what fits you and your needs are met in ways that let you keep going. Your angel has been involved in aligning this. They have nudged you toward people who confirm your gift. They have disrupted paths where you tried to become someone else. They have sent gentle unrest when you stayed too long in places that were killing your soul. You called it burnout. Heaven called it a wake-up call. This doesn't mean you throw everything away tomorrow and chase a dream recklessly. It means you begin to ask a different kind of question. God, how do you want the work of my hands to look in this season? What part of my design are you inviting me to actually use? What small step can I take toward aligning my work with what you put in me? When you pray that, heaven listens. Your angel receives new instructions. Highlight the right connections. Bring mentors into their path. Open small doors that fit their gift. Protect them from distractions that look shiny but don't match their assignment. Suddenly you start noticing things. A course, a conversation, a job posting that looks different, a collaboration that actually excites you. You feel scared, but also strangely drawn. That mix is often a sign that heaven is inviting you into something. You don't have to leap in one giant jump. You can step one decision to practice your gift a little more intentionally. 1 hour to learn a skill that strengthens your lane. One bold yes to something small that aligns with your design. Each step shifts the frequency around your work. You stop saying, I'll always be stuck in things I hate, and start saying, I am being guided into assignments that fit who I am in God. He will not waste what He placed in me. This is prosperity too, not just numbers increasing, but meaning increasing. The sense that your days are not just spent, but invested. Your guardian angel has seen the future chapters you haven't reached yet, where the skills you're building now and the small obediences you're choosing now become part of a bigger picture. Rooms where your gift creates income. Spaces where your work brings peace to others. Moments where your story encourages someone standing where you used to stand. You do not need to see the whole picture yet. You need to know this. Heaven is not indifferent to the work of your hands. Your assignment is not an afterthought. And as your heart aligns with God's voice about who you are, the frequency of divine provision will not only touch your bank account, it will begin to flow through your calling, turning the ordinary tasks of your day into part of a holy partnership between you, your angel, and the God who wrote your purpose before you ever needed a paycheck. There is a moment between what you don't have yet and what you're asking God for. That in-between space used to feel like torment. You stared at what was missing. You counted what was not enough. You scrolled past other people's blessings and felt your own lack louder and louder. In that atmosphere, your prayers sounded like panic. God, I need you to do this now. If you don't, I don't know what I'll do. If this doesn't work, I'm finished. You carried more fear than faith, and you blamed yourself for it. I don't attract good things. I don't have enough positive thoughts. My energy is wrong. Heaven heard something different. It heard a tired child who had never really felt safe, trying to control outcomes with sheer mental effort. God has never asked you to hold the universe together with your mind. He has asked you to trust the one who already holds it. Trust by itself can feel abstract. So He has given you a simple, powerful tool to tune your inner frequency: gratitude. Not as a trick to get more, not as a formula to manipulate heaven, as a way to see clearly again. Your guardian angel has watched the atmosphere shift around you in small, quiet moments when you chose gratitude on purpose. The day you whispered, God, I don't know how this month will end, but thank you that there is food on this table right now. The morning you said, I don't have the job I want, but thank you that I am not abandoned, that you woke me up, that I can breathe, think, move. In the night you looked back over a hard year and still found 3, 4, 5 things you could honestly say you were thankful for. You didn't feel spiritually powerful in those moments. You probably felt fragile. You may have cried while you thanked Him. But heaven treats that kind of gratitude like a signal flare in the dark, because gratitude does not deny lack. It simply refuses to let lack be the only voice. Gratitude says, yes, this is hard. Yes, I need breakthrough. But I refuse to forget what you have already done. I refuse to agree that you have never helped me. I remember. When you remember, your heart starts to shift. You see that provision has not been absent from your life. It has simply not always looked the way you expected. Sometimes it looked like a person showing up at the right time. Sometimes it looked like an idea that carried you. Sometimes it looked like unexpected strength on the day you wanted to collapse. Gratitude brings those memories back into focus. And when they come into focus, fear loses some of its grip, because you can no longer tell a clean, believable story that says, God has never come through for me. You may not have seen every miracle you wanted, but you cannot say he abandoned you completely. Gratitude forces that lie into the light. Your angel has seen how different you move when you are remembering well. On the days you only rehearse lack, your posture closes in. You walk like someone who expects no at every turn. On the days you remember even a little, your posture changes. You stand a bit taller. You speak with more calm. You say things like, I don't know how, but he's never left me yet. That sentence is not naive. It is warfare. You are not raising your vibration to impress the universe. You are lifting your eyes to agree with history. History where God has already proven himself faithful more times than you have noted. This is the frequency of gratitude. Not pretending things are easy, but anchoring your heart in what is already true. I am not where I used to be. I have survived more than I thought I could. God has placed people on my path. He has provided enough that I am still here, still listening, still breathing. He has not done everything I asked for the way I asked for it, but he has been present. When you live in that posture, your prayers change. They move from desperate ultimatums, do this or I can't trust you, to surrendered requests. Father, you see what I need. You know the deadlines. You know my fears. I thank you for how you have kept me so far, and I ask you to guide me now. Show me what to do. Provide in the way you know is best. I will follow. Those prayers sound different in heaven, not because the words are more impressive, but because the heart behind them is less chained to fear. And a heart less chained to fear is a heart more able to obey. Your guardian angel knows that much of divine provision flows through obedience, the nudge to apply, the courage to make a call, the humility to ask for help, the faith to say yes to a new direction. Gratitude softens the ground for that obedience. It loosens your grip on bitterness. It loosens your certainty that you are always alone. It opens the possibility that God actually is as good as he says he is. When that door opens, even a crack, heaven moves. Not because you have finally attracted enough positivity, but because you have finally turned your face toward the one who has been holding you in every season. Gratitude is not about ignoring pain. It is about refusing to edit God out of your story, and as you keep choosing it, not perfectly but sincerely, you will notice that the frequency inside your chest begins to sound less like panic and more like this: I am loved. I am seen. I'm being led. I don't have everything I want yet, but I have never walked a single step without heaven near me. There is a kind of provision that reaches you before the money shows up. You've tasted it without having language for it. The moment you should have fallen apart, but didn't. The season you should have walked away from God, but somehow stayed. The days you walked into work or into the unknown with no guarantee, and yet you moved anyway. From the outside, it looked like stubbornness. From heaven's side, it was faith. Not loud, not flashy, not perfect, but faith all the same. Faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is walking while fear screams in your ear that nothing will change. Faith is choosing to act like a child who believes their father will not abandon them on the road. Your guardian angel has watched you step onto that road more than once. They saw you say yes to paths you did not fully understand. A new job, a new city, a new project, a new level of obedience. You did not step forward because everything was secure. You stepped forward because something in you knew, I cannot stay here. Heaven honored that. You think divine provision starts when the miracle appears. Heaven knows it starts when your heart turns. When you decide, I will no longer live as if I am cursed. I will no longer plan my life around disaster. I will live as someone who is accompanied. That decision shifts your steps. You begin to walk differently. You ask God, is this your way for me? Instead of only asking, will this pay me? You weigh opportunities by peace, not just by pressure. You notice when something looks profitable but feels wrong in your spirit. You notice when something looks small but carries a deep inner yes. You start to recognize the difference between a trap and a doorway. Your angel has seen these tiny shifts. They saw you turn down money that would have cost you your integrity. They saw you walk away from a shady deal even when you were desperate. They saw you choose honest work over easier compromise. Those weren't just moral decisions, they were prosperity decisions. Because any path that requires you to betray who you are in God is already poverty, no matter how much it pays. Heaven measures prosperity in a different currency: peace, purpose, clean hands, a conscience that can sleep. Relationships that are not bought, joy that does not depend on the next deposit. When you choose those things, even at the cost of short-term gain, you are already walking in provision. You are aligning yourself with a flow that will not crush you. And heaven responds. Your guardian angel receives instructions in those moments. Guard their decision, shield them from shame, send encouragement, open a different route, so the path you thought would be straight curves. The door you thought you needed stays locked, and another opens 2 steps to the side. Sometimes it looks smaller, less glamorous, less impressive to people looking from afar, but the atmosphere inside it is different. There is grace to grow. There is room for your soul. There is favor that doesn't require pretending. This too is provision. Provision of the right battles, the right rhythms, the right level of responsibility for the current strength of your heart. You are not failing because your story does not look like someone else's highlight reel. You are being tailored. Heaven is fitting your life to your frame. Your angel has seen how many times you have looked around and thought, I am behind. Everyone else is ahead. Everyone else has more. They have watched comparison steal the joy from your own progress. Yet if you could see what they see, the traps you avoided, the collapses you did not have, the burnouts you were spared, the wrong alliances you walked past, you would realize you are not behind. You are preserved. Divine provision does not only show up as extra, it shows up as what never had access to you. The breakdowns that never happened, the betrayals that never reached you, the losses that were limited. You do not see those things. Heaven does. And as you continue to walk forward on this frequency, choosing trust over panic, gratitude over bitterness, obedience over manipulation, you will notice other changes as well. You will stop making every financial decision from the place of emergency. You will start asking, what is wise? What is aligned with where God is taking me? What reflects trust instead of terror? You will stop speaking curses over your own future. You will start saying things like, I don't see it yet, but I believe God is preparing something. I will be ready when it comes. He will not forget me in the story he is writing. Those sentences do not earn you blessing. They position you to recognize it. Your guardian angel has walked long roads with men and women who chose to trust God in the in-between. Every time they chose trust again, the atmosphere thickened with promise. They were not always rescued out of every hard thing, but they were always met. Strength in wilderness, wisdom in confusion, comfort in loss, surprising help at the last moment. This will be your story too. Not a fairy tale of effortless abundance, but a real, deep spiritual prosperity where you can say, even before I saw the answer, I was not abandoned. Even before the numbers changed, I was already covered. Heaven was walking with me in the dark, teaching me how to live as someone who is provided for, even while the page still looks empty. And if you could see what has been happening around your life this whole time, you would not call yourself unlucky. You would not say, "I attract only bad things." You would not label your story as one long string of failure. You would see a different pattern, a pattern of being kept in moments you did not know how to protect yourself, kept in seasons you did not have the strength to continue, kept in situations where logic said, "This should have been the end," and heaven said, "This is only a page." Your guardian angel has watched every chapter. They have seen you count your losses with painful accuracy and ignore your survivals. They have listened to you call yourself always behind, while knowing how many disasters you are ahead of because God blocked them before they ever reached you. Tonight, heaven is inviting you to change frequencies, not to pretend you have no needs, not to deny your real pressures, but to stop living as if you are an orphan in a hostile universe and begin living as a child in the care of a wise father, a father who provides, a father who corrects, a father who sometimes says, "Not yet," because he loves you too much to give you something that would destroy you. A father who assigns angels to walk you through timing, doors, opportunities, and delays. This is the heart of divine prosperity, not "I get everything I want when I want it," but "I am not alone in any of this. I am guided, I am protected, I am taught, I am provided for in ways I see and in ways I don't." When you begin to live from that place, money stops being your master. It becomes a tool. Work stops being only a punishment. It becomes part of your assignment. Increase stops being a desperate fantasy. It becomes a possibility that rests in God's hands, not in your panic. And you stop waking up every day asking, "How will I hold my life together?" and start waking up asking, "Father, how are you holding me today? What are you inviting me into? Where do you want the work of my hands, the words from my mouth, and the generosity of my heart to join what you're doing?" Your angel knows the sound of that question. They hear it not just in words, but in posture. Open hands instead of fists, an open heart instead of a locked vault, eyes lifted instead of always scanning the ground for what might go wrong. You will still have moments of fear. You will still feel the pull of scarcity. You will still have days where you look at the numbers and feel your chest tighten. You are human. Heaven is not asking you to become a machine of faith. It is asking you to keep turning the dial back when it drifts, to say, even with trembling lips, "God, I feel scared, but I choose to tune my heart to your voice again. I thank you for how you have kept me. I invite you into my work, my finances, my timing, my decisions. I ask you to lead me into the kind of prosperity that doesn't cost me my soul. I choose to live as someone who is not abandoned." When you pray like that, even in your own simple words, the frequency around your life shifts. Not because you are manifesting something, but because you are remembering what has always been true. You are not walking alone. You have never walked alone. The God who covered your childhood, who sustained you through your worst mistakes, who quietly moved behind the scenes to keep you from destruction, is the same God standing in your today. He knows what you need tomorrow. He knows which doors will bless you and which would bind you. He knows how to feed you in desert seasons and how to humble you in abundant ones. And He has not forgotten you, not once. So as this message ends and your day continues, you can make a quiet, real choice. You can keep living on the old frequency, fear, panic, self-blame, or you can begin to walk on a different one. Trust, gratitude, obedience, and openness to being led. You will not do it perfectly. You do not have to. You only have to keep returning to the truth. I am a child who is kept. Heaven has not stopped watching over me. God has not stopped providing for me. And I will not live as if I am alone ever again. Udi, if this has resonated with a part of you that is tired of fear and hungry for this kind of peace, you are welcome to stay close here on Divine Frequency. Let this space be a reminder that heaven is nearer than your anxiety, that angels are working in the details of your timing and provision, and that your life is not just a fight to survive, but a story being written by the one who knows how to prosper you without losing you. If your heart needs to keep hearing that, you can quietly choose to walk with us, to subscribe, to come back, to keep listening as heaven speaks into your everyday life. Because from the first day you took a breath until the day you stand home with Him, this has always been true, even when you didn't feel it. You are seen, you are led, you are protected, and you are held in a provision that began long before you knew the word prosperity, the provision of a God who will not let you go.